Hey guys, welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live. I'm your host, Jeff Marconette Jr., the award-winning international Make Every Second Count speaker. And I went from being in a car wreck and being in a coma 2.5 months, not being told that I wouldn't walk again, to where I am now. And I just wanted to bring Ryan on this show to show you guys that everything is possible. Yes, you can see that what I've done I've really accomplished a lot, and I want to make that more evident with other people. That's why I have done this show. So you guys will know that everything is possible in life. But I want to introduce you to Ryan Luelf, and he is my guest tonight, and I will let him go through the introductions with you.
Hey, Jeff, thanks a lot for having me on. It's really neat to, be connected with other people that have faced difficulty, faced a challenging circumstance, gone through something that, radically shifted and changed and transformed your whole life. And man, I just applaud you for your courage and your attitude and the way you've chosen to respond to that situation. And, my story's similar in the sense of I was 35 years old back in the fall of 2015. Married about 15 years at that time to my high school sweetheart, Caroline. Our 3 children were under the age of 10. And up until this point, I really had no major medical issues in my life at that, juncture. And 35 years old, I'd had some swollen lymph nodes on my neck. I'd been having some night sweats. I didn't really think much of it. I was pretty active. I was playing tennis. Then I got these horrible headaches. Went in for some MRIs and found out that I had stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer, and was told that potentially I only had a few months to live. And so it's been an unbelievable journey. I've been cancer-free now for, 29, 30 months, almost 2.5 years. Whoa. And almost died 3 times. And it's just been one of those things where, something just ignited within me as far as like my perception about what it means to be human and how we go about things in life. And in a weird and odd way, something that could have been so devastating and could have cost me my life really ended up becoming this gift to me and my family. And it just transformed the way we exist, the way we live. And so excited to be here on the show and let you, just kind of ask questions, guide me, interview, whatever you'd like for the listeners to hear, man. But that's kind of me in a nutshell. And just celebrated 20 years with Caroline, and our 3 children are now 14, 10, and 8, boy, girl, and a boy. And we live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and just super grateful, man, to be on the show.
Wow, man, you have really accomplished quite a bit in your days, and I am really proud of where you are now compared to where you started, because obviously the big C word is nothing to joke around with, and you have conquered that. So I give you props for that one. Sorry, I'm just trying to share this to as many groups as I can. And I want to say hi to a few people here that are watching with us tonight. So I want to say hi to Rachel. Thank you for watching. Hi to Brenda. And Brenda says that she had the same symptoms, and she also had the lymph nodes. She says, congratulations.
Thank you.
And then I also want to say hi to Sean Siegel, and hope he is doing great. So how are you dealing with everything that is going on right now?
In the last 2 years, prior to us moving and settling back down in Tulsa, my wife and family and I, we lived actually in an RV full time for about 2 years and traveled around the U.S. And in that time, we homeschooled our children. And of course, we were living in 300 to 400 square feet and spending, pretty much every day together. So I think in that sense, we've handled this lockdown quarantine situation pretty well. We're not too foreign to having our kids with us. We're entrepreneurs. We work from home. So a lot hasn't changed for us in our every day-to-day life, other than our kids do go to a private school now, and we don't have basketball practice going on, and we're not taking them to and from school, and we're not seeing people as often. But for the most part, yeah, I think we've handled it pretty well. Although I went on a walk with my 14-year-old son the other day, and he kind of had a little bit of an emotional breakdown. And he said, "Dad, I just kind of feel like the world is like conspiring against me. I feel like the world's taking away things that I love and things that I want to be doing." And I'm grateful that I'm in a space where I didn't try to just jump in and give him an answer or make him feel like he couldn't just sit in that sadness for a moment. I just kind of let him talk and just let it absorb and listen. And just acknowledged first that, wow, that, yes, if I was 14 right now, that would be hard, not seeing your friends and not being able to play in basketball tournaments and doing the things that you love to do. But once I felt like he had kind of had a chance to release the emotion and he was acknowledged for that, then we could kind of talk about, well, how do we accept what is and at the same time exercise the power we have to make the best out of it? And so I don't believe in the idea that I can be a perfect father. I do my best to just be an engaged father, a present human being, and one that does everything I know to do to be in tune with the here and the now, and try to be a better listener, try to not let myself be distracted, to focus in when, anybody in my family is talking to me. And so, yeah, we've just been, really trying to connect more, having more family dinners at the kitchen table, playing basketball on our driveway and shooting horse out there. My wife and I have pretty much been going on a 3 to 5 mile walk almost every day for probably 5 weeks in a row. And we just take that time to not only get exercise, to get vitamin D, but also to just connect as a husband and wife, to have time we'll make a list before we walk out the house of things that, like, hey, let's bring these subjects up and let's talk about them while we're walking. Yeah. So that if for some reason she got wrapped up in what she was doing and I was wrapped up in what I was doing, we know that walk, that allows us to make that real, true connection on a regular basis. So yeah, in those sense, we're making the best out of it. My only concern, Jeff, is I just want to make sure that as a country, as a global society, that we're conscious of anyone who may be trying to jeopardize freedoms that we're all enjoying. And I just want to be a continued voice that we live awakened in our consciousness, and we pay attention where someone might be taking away rights that all of us as human beings want to continue to be able to exercise.
Yes, and that is very true. What has been your most difficult thing of this lockdown or quarantine, as they call it?
I think for me is not being able to see family as much, and then people who are nervous about seeing, others, and not being able to like hug people. And like, my love language is physical touch. And that doesn't necessarily always mean like sex. I mean, I like to hug and embrace, or, shake people's hands, or just really feel that sense of energy and love. So, that's probably been the hardest part. And then just seeing our kids have things that they would love to be engaged in, activities they would be going to, seeing their friends, seeing their buddies, and them just getting a little bit restless and not knowing exactly how to handle why this is even happening or why we're being told we have to do this, and just trying to do our best as my wife and I, trying to, how do we talk to them in a way of, we don't want to tell them what to think about this. We want to continue to lead them to ask questions, to be curious, and to learn to think for themselves. If there's anything I want my kids to take away from their 18 years in our home, is do they know how to think for themselves? Are they curious people? Do they question things, not in a skeptical way, because I think that can become like a disease itself, but more of, I want to be educated before I just agree to anything.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably one of those people that just agree to anything and just go with the flow. And I'm willfully ignorant about a lot that is going on because I do not go and watch the news, or I do not go and talk to people that may have the scoop, or I don't reach out for information like that. But I don't know. I just kind of want to live my life in a positive light and just not worry about everything that's outside, because I can control what's in here.
Yeah.
I can't control what's out there. So I just look within and I block out everything else.
I think that's a tremendously healthy way to live. And I feel like I do a lot of that as well. I've probably gotten a little bit more tuned in to stuff, in the last couple of months. But for the most part, I don't get online and read a bunch of stuff from what I feel like is manipulated anyway, as far as what the media puts out and what's reported in the news. Very rarely do I feel like they actually report real, true, accurate stuff that doesn't have some type of an agenda or a narrative that, somebody's trying to push because there's some type of financial gain or benefit, but I couldn't agree more. And that was really the transformation that occurred during my stage 4 cancer adventures. It was, how do I go from living a disempowered life to an empowered life? How do I go from being uneasy and living in dis-ease to how do I live a life of peace and contentment? And how do I get to a place where I'm at ease with myself? And most of that has been doing my interior work. And that is going within, recognizing that I've been kind of trained and programmed to look outside myself for solutions and answers, when really everything that I need is right here within me. So, learning the practice of meditation, taking time to try to stop your thoughts and to get out of the conditioned mind that has been, programmed through other people's ideologies and beliefs and opinions, and trying to actually connect into, whatever that is, if you want to call it God, spirit, source, energy, consciousness. I mean, it's just that non-physical part of us that I think we all have a sense exists. And it's like, how do I live more from that, which feels more like I'm in alignment with the true me, versus getting too wrapped up in trying to live out these expectations and getting attached to these different identities that, the world is always trying to put on me, or, invite me to try to manifest or make happen. And more times than not, I end up just feeling frustrated, discontented, and unsatisfied with life. And so, yeah, I think that's a lot of my message too, is go within, cultivate a deep connection with yourself, and make sure that you're in alignment. And then from there, things on the outside seem to, work better.
Yeah, that's something I've also noticed, that once you get things in your life going right, everything seems to go right. And it's like you can go out and look at something, and I have a picture that I wish I had saved on here, and that it's of a house that has been wiped out by a tornado or a hurricane or something. And then I have people look at that, and they always say they notice the baby, and then they notice all the negative things about the picture. And I said, okay, now look at the grass. It's green. Look at the sky. It's blue. Look at the sun. Well, it's out. Look at the clouds. They're very neat. look, the dad is still alive. The kid is still alive. The baby is still hungry and eating, and he has food, and he's talking on a cell phone. So he still has communication with people that love him. See, there's many things that somebody could have seen in that picture, and they choose just to look at the negative things. And I don't think they should do that at all. But is there any suggestions or anything that you can tell other people to do to live a happier life, to live a more joyful life?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, I found for me that one of the things that robs us from extracting joy is I look back now and I see I was so steeped in my own self-righteousness that how could I be extracting joy from my existence when I was just like, it was like I was scanning every person that I came in contact with, either online or in real life. And I was essentially measuring them and judging them based on my own perceptions up to these, arbitrary standards that I thought were, the one and only and right way to live. And all that did was create an internal turmoil, an internal anxiety, a stress that I was blaming on other people for creating, when in reality, I was the one creating it. So I just have found that, look, everybody should stand in their truth. I mean, I'm releasing a podcast that'll go out tomorrow with me and my wife, Caroline, called Stand in Your Truth. And we are advocating that everybody ought to have the right to express their truth. But at the same time, I think the healthiest state of consciousness we can come from is, obviously, we don't advocate any sort of abuse. We're obviously not for any sort of violence, harming anyone. But other than that, what's it to you? What's it to me? Why are we so caught up in thinking that another person needs to think like us, believe like us, live like us, look like us, do like us, act like us? Like, we want to live in freedom. That's how you extract joy. That's how you enjoy a contentful, but fun, exciting, adventurous, challenging human experience. Is you're free and you allow everyone else to be free. And of course, there's always a time and a place. If someone is abusing that freedom or harming someone, then I'm all about, yes, take a stance. There needs to be justice. I'm not advocating that we allow any sort of violence or abuse to be happening. But outside of that, like, people's sexuality is their sexuality. People's opinion about politics is their opinion about politics. People's beliefs around the phenomenon of God are theirs. That is all a personal thing. And if they're not doing anything to hurt you, or I'm not doing anything to hurt anyone, why do we care? Why do we allow the media and the narratives pumped into us so often through a lot of the, channels of internet and television to try to divide us, to make it a, binary duality consciousness type thing where we end up just fighting against each other because we're blaming them and then they're blaming us and we're more right than you and you're more wrong than we. And man, I don't want to live that way, Jeff. That was not a fun existence. And I was pretty wrapped up in a lot of that prior to my journey with cancer. So my thing is, do that deep interior work. Find out why you have so much judgment towards people that do life different than you. Find out what it was in your subconscious that got programmed as a child. What did you pick up from your parents or from school or society, or what was your orientation towards this stuff that triggers you? Let the triggers be your guide to work and deal with these unresolved things that, aren't necessarily your fault, but they're there because we all, on some level, create our own reality. We're manifesting the belief system that most of us developed in our subconscious mind before the age of 8. And until we have awareness around that, we can be missing out on a really fun, joyful existence here on planet Earth.
Yeah. And life is short. And I talk to people all the time. And in fact, I go and speak all the time. Well, before everything that's going on now.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
one of my big things was explaining to people that you only get one life. You only get that one chance. And it's so important that you make that one chance count, because you never know when those seconds are going to run out. Because walking out on the street right now, that can kill you. Just sitting here in my chair right now, that can kill me.
Right.
That could end my life. And anybody's life can end in the blink of an eye.
It's
It
really
can all
true.
just be taken away. And they need to be thankful for what they already have, what experiences they've already experienced. And just know that this moment, this second right here, right now, is the only thing that is promised.
That's right. That's good, man. Yeah, that resonates a lot. Yeah, just really continuing to notice how my mind wants to drift into the past or drift into what I think is going to be in the future. And it takes a lot of effort, energy, and awareness to bring yourself back into the only thing that we really have, which is right now, this present moment, and to really bring our senses and dial them in so that we extract joy, even if it's doing a 30-minute Facebook Live call with someone we've never met in person before. Like, how do we extract the most fun and the most joy in being fully present in what we're doing, versus my mind could be thinking about putting the kids to bed later, or what I need to talk to my wife about, or what I didn't do in my business last week that's still bothering me, or, I mean, there's a million things that your mind can take you to, but then how many of us are here, but we're not here?
Yeah. I spent 2.5 months in a coma. And when I came out of my coma, I realized that there's a lot of people that are going through life in a coma. There are a lot of people that are just going through doing things on autopilot and not paying attention to what's going on. There's a lot of people that live in fear and anxiety, and that means that you're living in the future. And then there's other people that are living in regret, and that means you're living in the past. If they live right now, if they live in the moment and they're thankful and they're just grateful, well, those mean the same things. But if they, I don't know, if they just love life, that they realize that, yes, there are these people over here and there are these people over here, and they might be Christians, they might be Muslims, they might be homosexuals, they might be straight, they might be Republicans, they might be Democrats, but guess what? We're all one. We're one people.
We were all human before we were any of those other things.
Yes. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. They want to treat people like those classifications, one side or the other.
Yes.
But they need just to realize that we're one. That yes, they might be from somewhere else. They might have different color skin, but they still have a heart. They still have lungs. They still have a spleen. They still have a brain. They still have feelings, just like you.
Yep. And it's not easy to keep that perspective, but I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head, man. And I know I don't always do it, but I'm aware that that is where I want to be. I want to be living in that perspective, that oneness. And I want that to influence the way I communicate and how I respond and the way I interact and the way I engage with people who see things much differently than I do. And yeah, it's a lifelong journey.
Yeah, I so agree. It's a lifelong journey, and it's taken me a long time to get to where I am now. So I just want everybody out there to know that they can get to where I am now because I live my life in joy. I live my life grateful, and I love everybody. Just because they're different than me doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. I feel the same way, man. I'm 40 years old, and never has there been another time since I've been on the earth that I feel like I'm enjoying my experience now as much or more than any other time I can ever remember. And same thing, extracting joy, full of gratitude. I was just telling my brother Eric today that last night, or I think it was Sunday night, because we had been over seeing my brother and his family on Sunday, and I just kind of sat in the recliner after putting my two youngest kids to bed. My oldest son was staying the night at a friend's, and I just kind of sat there and I thought, man, I'm healthy. You know, I've overcome a death sentence. My children, they're healthy. That we don't have any major health problems. My wife is healthy. You know, my wife and I are into each other. We actually have an ongoing, thriving, intimate relationship that is the real thing, which means we have arguments, we have disagreements, we're not perfect, but two people that want to continue to show up and grow. You know, we've been saying this now for a while. If a young person came to us and asked for relationship advice, we would tell them, don't find someone or look for someone to grow old with, look for someone to grow with.
Yeah.
And you know, we have enough money, we have enough food. We like what we do as far as business wise. We don't have a boss. We work from home. I was just like, oh my God. I mean, I have so much to be thankful for. And I just wanted to, I guess, set and take a moment and make sure I was really fully acknowledging that, because it's so easy in times like this to get pretty fired up and to get pretty disgruntled and upset about some of the things that are going on, that you can forget those still, that even in the midst of that, so much to be grateful for.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, I want to take another second here before we wrap this show up, that I want to say that Sean Siegel is a fellow Hodgkin's survivor, and so is Brenda Ringwood.
Awesome.
But they've also both said that Brenda is 9 years out from her cancer, and Sean Siegel is about 4 to 5 years out from his.
Wonderful.
And then I want to say hi to Evan Marconette. I want to say hi to Heather Warner. Hi to Wendell Graham. And he's going to be a guest on this show. And he's going to be a guest on a special episode where we go over his 7 points. And then I want to say, yes, I know, Sean, that I need to shave my beard. I'm working on that. And then I want to say hi to my former teacher, Mr. Darner, and Ryan Young, and Dean Fairchild, and Chandler Huggins, and my dad, and David Spiegel, and then Brett and Julia Atkins. So that's pretty awesome that you guys are watching tonight. I hope you've gotten some good information from me and Ryan. And I ask you if you would please share this video out. I know I should have asked sooner in the video, because there's a lot of people that have got on and gotten off already, but I'll ask now. And if you're watching the replay, please put a 2 in the comment section. Let me know that you're watching the replay. Don't forget to share this video out. But again, I am Jeff Marconette Jr., the international award-winning Make Every Second Count speaker, and he is Ryan Luelf. And is there any way they can get a hold of you, Ryan, or how can they view that podcast or listen to that podcast?
Yeah, I mean, if they've got an Apple iPhone or an Android, wherever you go to listen to podcasts, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, just look up Chasing Certainty, the Ryan Luelf podcast. The name's just based on the idea of, if we spend our whole life chasing certainty, we actually might miss the whole thing. And so, find me there. You can follow me on Facebook. If I'm maxed out on friends, my profile's public. I have a business page as well. I'm on Instagram, Twitter. Just look up the Ryan Luelf, and it's pretty simple. My website's ryanluelf.com. So everything's just kind of tied to my name, and there's not too many Luelfs out there. Although there is a person on Facebook that their name's Ryan Luelf as well. But it's not difficult to find me. And my podcast is probably one of the funnest things that I enjoy doing, because I feel like it allows my wife and I to just, again, share our truth, use our voice, and create a space for things to be talked about, discussed, for people to ponder, ask the tough questions. We kind of live in the question, and we're not saying that we've got it all figured out. We don't. We're not saying that we're right and you're wrong. We're just saying, let's not just assume that because we were told something, then that automatically is how it is. Thanks a lot, Jeff, for having me on. I really appreciate it very much, and have total respect and admiration for all you're doing. And what a courageous and amazing story that you have. And I just hope people can continue to be inspired by all your work.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here with me and my viewers tonight. But I need everybody out there, including you, Ryan, to do me a favor. I need you to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when the seconds are going to run out on your one life. Hey, until next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, I say au revoir.